Bob Rock, and this is the Bureaucracy Show. Okay, let's try again. Let's try this again. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Bob Rock, and this is the B-Rock RC Show, a live podcast for the drifters by a drifter. As you can see, I'm trying to get my lighting right. Okay, something like that. We're gonna try and fiddle with this while we on the show. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but okay, something's happening here, and if I do that, it's a little better. It's a little better. If I do that, and if I do that, let's see. Oh, that's not too bad. I think it's kind of spooky a little bit, but it's okay. You can see my face a little bit better. I don't know. I'm trying to sort out my flippin' camera settings here so it looks better, but I can't seem to. It just doesn't seem to work. Or I can't get it to work. I don't know. I had to change my I had to change my settings a little bit so I could do the podcast, because for some reason my OBS is not working. So I'm just gonna be, please forgive me, I'm gonna be fiddling around a little bit here. That's a little better. The lighting isn't the best, but we're gonna make do. So welcome once again to the B-Rock RC Show. I'm your host Bob Rock, and we are gonna go on a little adventure today with some very interesting topics that I managed to pick up over the past few days, and I hope you guys are gonna join me. And let's see what the world of RC drifting is bringing us this time around. So how's everybody doing? How are you guys doing? Are you keeping well? I see there's more and more RC drifting going on, and I'm so happy to see that. I hope that we're going to see a lot more, and we're going to see a lot more competitions going on. Now, with that being said, I am a little bit disappointed that I'm not able to do the show as much or in the manner I usually do. But look, I'm making do, and I think that it's. I shouldn't stop the show. I shouldn't let something like this stop the show. So we're gonna just keep on keeping on, and we're gonna make the best of it. I'm try and sort out better lighting here. Maybe I should move the light onto that side, but we'll leave it for another day. So we've got a couple of people in here. Hey Rob, hey Stephen, hey Perry. Oh no, that's okay, Perry. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate that you managed to drop in for a couple of minutes, or just at least drop in to say hi. Really appreciate it. So, continuing from last week, well, we had some interesting conversations going on. We had the YD2. We had over the past few weeks, we've seen the release of the new YD2Z or the YD2Z, whichever way you like to pronounce it. And it just got us questioning what exactly is going through the minds of Yokomo with releasing these subtle variants. And then also, I'm sure everybody would have noticed that Yokomo has also released another update to the SX3, which features a very, very fancy looking, very lightweight looking carbon deck, a carbon lower deck. And we see that towards the rear of the chassis, where you normally would see your motor mount, it appears a little bit disconnected from the main chassis. So obviously I think the intention is to add a little bit of flex for those low traction surfaces, so when you apply the throttle, your the rotation causes the chassis to squat, and obviously it encourages more traction. So I don't know about all that. We haven't seen it in action as yet, but that deck certainly does look fantastic. So I think I'd just like to get my hands on it, and just have a look at it. Yo, what's up, Rich? Thank you so much for joining in, man. Really, really appreciate it. It's nice to see some of the guys in here, some of the regulars in here. Guys, you are the real MVPs, so I really appreciate it. And once again, I must apologize for the bad looking the video. The lighting is not good. My OBS just refuses to work. And so what's happening is, just to give you a quick info, what's happening with my OBS system software is that it'll launch and run for about 5 minutes to 10 minutes perfect, and once it hits a certain point it just dies off, and I don't know why. I really don't. I wish I don't know, I need some help with it, but for the moment we're just gonna run how we're running now, and hopefully everything just falls into place. So there's been a few very, very interesting topics that have come up in the last few weeks, especially over the last couple of days, and it's got a lot of us like almost banging our heads on the wall. It's like, what on earth is going on? Where do these guys come from? And before we get into that big topic that I'm talking about, I just wanted to run by a few things, especially aimed at the newbies. And as most of you guys know, most of my podcasts are usually directed at the grassroots level, the beginners, the newbies. Sometimes for the more experienced RC drifters and RC enthusiasts around the world, but largely targeting the new guys, as I feel that's where I can have the most amount of impact, and I think that's where we need the most amount of input from us who are a little bit more experienced in the game. And so one of the things that has been coming up a lot from the new guys is they're going ahead and they're choosing a chassis. I see that lately they are becoming a lot more, how can I put it, a lot more clued up into what they are getting. They're opting for a more purposeful chassis. Like they're going for the YD2s, they're going for the MSTs and the Sakura D5s, which is good, because they now were starting to realize that we need to start working on a solid base first and then move up from there. Now with that, they are also asking, and I think they're jumping the gun a little bit here, where they're already listing, okay, what electronics I've ordered these electronics, how is it? You're asking the question a little bit late. You're already placing your order for your motor, your ESC, your gyro and servo, etc. But you're asking for opinions after you already made the purchase. So that's counterproductive. You need to ask the questions first before going out and placing those orders. So it's okay. I think a lot of us have come to terms with the fact that newbies, they're always going to ask the same questions over and over, and we're just going to have to repeat ourselves over and over. So what makes me happy is guys like Super G, who have written this brilliant article about about your first chassis and aimed at beginners. So you got the beginners. What's the right way to go about choosing, or how do you go about choosing a new chassis? And that article that they wrote is absolutely brilliant. So shout out to you guys at Super G. If you guys just search on Google or on Facebook, you can definitely find them, Super GRC. Go to the blog section and you'll see the article is written there. It's very, very informative for the new guys, and you're definitely going to appreciate reading that article first before making your purchase. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with um, asking around, asking on Facebook, but it would help that you have a look um, at that article first. It's really, really going to save you time. So again, for all those that have just joined in, really appreciate it. I'm your host Bob Rock, and this is the B Rock RC Show, a live podcast for the drifters by a drifter. If you could please do me a massive, massive favor and share this a live podcast so we can get more newbies coming in and listening in, and hopefully they will learn a thing or two, and which will make the whole RC drifting experience a whole lot better. Uh, so that was, choosing electronics. It's, in my opinion, with the increase or the advancement of technology that we have now, um, obviously you're gonna get electronics that will suit all skill levels, all budget levels as well. So again, you gotta ask the questions like what's your budget? What do you tend doing? Are you the kind of person that likes to get the right equipment to do the right job? Are you a very technical person? Are you the kind of person that when you get involved in something you go all out? Or perhaps are you the kind of person who is more cautious? You want to take it one step at a time. Um, or are you perhaps the kind of person that would love to get into the hobby, but you don't have a lot of money? However, you are willing to make a few sacrifices for the hobby. So you got to ask yourself all of these questions, and how far do you want to take your RC drifting, and what level do you want to see yourself getting to? So a lot of these guys are watching these incredible RC drifting videos on YouTube, on Facebook, or perhaps they're seeing um, they're seeing a demo or an exhibition at an auto show, or perhaps just a group of guys out in a parking lot somewhere, and they're really shredding a tech. Now the thing is, all of that has come with a lot of practice and also buying the right sort of equipment. So you're not gonna nail it first time out. Just remember that. However, those are the guys that you need to go out to and talk to and ask him, what equipment are you using? I'd love to get into the hobby. This is my budget. I'd love to drift like how you are drifting, so can you tell me more about it? Ask the questions first. It'll save you a lot of time, money, and headache. It'll save you a lot of it, so that you can get yourself all the right stuff to use. So just keep that in mind. Electronics, I always, I won't say always, but I've come to a point where I've realized that investing in good electronics the first time round just saves you a whole lot of money in the long run. Because the same electronics, if you take care of it, you use it as it should be, you don't uh, you don't overdo it with the electronics. I mean, like, you don't push it beyond its limits, you don't push it to the max, to its max performance settings, like all the time, and then just run it hard. You run it well, you run it within its parameters. It'll last you a long time, and you can take it from chassis to chassis or just leave it in the one chassis as you upgrade. So it's better and more beneficial for you if you invest in good electronics one time. There's a whole bunch of electronics out there. I've seen a question recently where somebody asked, I have this ESC, what other electronics are compatible with this ESC? Like what kind of motors? Are there specific motors that I need to use with this ESC? It may not necessarily be that, because electronics now are compatible with each other. You can swap out, you can use different brands with each other. You don't have to always keep the same, keep with the same brand. Although uh, these brands, they do make things a lot easier by providing you with combos, but it's not always necessary that you need to go with the same brand combo. It's not a must, it's not compulsory. So if you get a really nice ESC, say for example the Hobbywing XR10 Pro, which is a fantastic fully programmable ESC that gives you a wide range of adjustability. You can use it with almost any 10.5 sensor motor. You can go OMG, you can go Acuvance, you can go RevD, you can go Yokomo, LRP, so many of these brands. You can try any of them and they will work. So it's not necessarily that you have to have the same brands, the exact same brand for everything across. Let's go to the comments. Hey, what's up, Caleb? Thanks so much for joining in, man. I have the same washing machine. What's that supposed to say? What does that mean? Hey, what's up, Marcio? So good to see you, man. Yeah, I'm gonna need your help with this thing that's going on over here, man. But I'll hit you up. I'll hit you up later. Marcio is my good friend who we in the same clan. We play PUBG together, and he's also a streamer for our clan, and just a all-round nice guy. So really appreciate it. Also, whilst we are giving shout outs, I also got to give a big shout out to Scale Science, to the boys at Scale Science. You guys are doing a fantastic job out there. You, for everybody that's watching, please go and make sure you join in on Scale Science's podcast whenever it comes out. If you can't catch it live, catch it on YouTube. Very entertaining, very informative podcast where they feature everything and more. So it's a lot better than my podcast, trust me. And but they are fantastic guys. They also have a very nice competition which is running like internationally, where it's, shoot, I can't remember the name, but anyway, the competition is basically build the Pandora Hilux. So get yourself a Pandora Hilux and build it however the way you want it. You build it, let your imagination go wild, and then just just enter, man. Just enter. You can join in on the podcast. I mean, besides the podcast, on the Discord channel. Sorry, you'll find the link to the Discord channel on their Facebook page. So make sure you check it out there. There we go. Rob says, truck or treat. Yeah, man. I think the competition ends in October, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm actually trying to get. I would love to enter that competition. Unfortunately, it's not looking too good on this side, simply because of the shipping rates to South Africa is like absolutely ridiculous at the moment, because it's like the body is like about $65, and then the shipping is like another 60, and that's not even taking into account the taxes and the customs once it lands. So it's just working out a bit too much. The shipping is just pushing it way out. So unfortunately, I have to give it a pass. Okay, so Marcia says, with the new policy coming soon, don't have too much cash, but I need to test out my pops flow. So Marcio has been checking out our RC game, and funny enough, he has a couple in his garage there somewhere. So I'm trying to encourage him to get into drifting as well. Okay, Rob says October 27th. Okay, so October 27th is the final date for the truck or treat competition that Scale Science is running. So please go and check them out. Check the Facebook page out, and I'm sure you guys will. If you can, please join in. It's a very fun, very nice competition, and I'm sure it's gonna bring out the best and most creative minds in the game. Okay, Marcia says, what's the cheapest way to get into the drift scene? Sure. It's dude. I'll be honest. It's a bit hard to say, man. If you really want to get into the drift scene, cheapest route I can give you is Sakura D5 with some Onisiki electronics. Those are actually quite affordable and quite decent. You could also go Hobby Wing. You're probably looking at about 6K. That's South African rands. So yeah, about there. So that should get you up and going with everything, with the radio and the works. So it's actually not that bad, not that bad at all. Ooh, we got 9 people watching. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in. For those who don't know, this is the B-Rock RC show, and we are on episode 20 of season 2. So thank you guys for giving me the motivation to keep this up. I know it's not. I'm not 100% happy with the look of the whole podcast now, and I'm hoping that I can get that sorted out in due time. I have some other plans in the mix at the moment, which that doesn't allow me to do a whole bunch right now. But yeah, man, I'm not too happy with the way it looks. But we'll see how it goes. Tai say, what's up, man? Good luck with the show. I'm building my S14.9 body right now. Oh, sweet. Very nice, man. Very nice. Let's, you should throw in some pictures, man. Let's see what it looks like. So Marcia says, is it better to get a RTR or build a custom ride? Okay, so look with the RTR, it is what it is. You got a great base to start off with. You've got everything that you need right in a box. All you do is charge your battery and off you go, and then you can adjust from there and upgrade from there. So it's actually I'd say for a beginner it's actually not a bad idea to go for an RTR. Just my opinion. Hear me out. However, if you do know the right people, you can actually you could piece it together and really customize it that way. The customizing, but you're probably only really looking at customizing the body. That's the only really absolutely unique part that you could do. Customizing the chassis, you got to know what you're doing in order to customize the chassis. So if anything, it's just really upgrading the parts on the chassis, which can come later. The first thing you'd want to do though is actually just learn how to drift first, and then once you know how to drift first, you know how your car reacts, how it works. You've slowly managed to develop your own drift style, and then you start understanding, okay, what do I need, not what do I want. So I need my car to perform in a certain way, which it is not. So I need to get the upgrades that will help do that, that will help increase the performance and get the car to do what I want it to do. And that's the approach you should take. Don't just throw money at it, get upgrades left, right, and center, and get the best of the best, but you don't know how to get the car around the track. It's a waste of time. You work on the performance first, work on the skill first, get that right, and then you can start upgrading your chassis. Then you can start getting a little bit fancy with everything else. The body, I'd say, yeah, go for it. Customize it all you want, and that's fine. But when it comes to the chassis and the performance, you need to develop the skill first. And then, yes, along the way, there are going to be certain parts which you're going to need that's going to help you get that performance better. But the baseline, it's all about the base. You have to get the base right. So you have to get your basic drifting skills right. How to go around the cone, do a circle, do a figure eight, do an extended figure eight, how to hold a long drift, how to drift in a tight technical corner. So you need to develop those things first. Understand what the car is doing. Understand what the different components of the car does. How does changing one thing affect the performance? How does changing the toe of the car change the performance, changes the way it reacts? How does the preload on your shocks change the performance? The shock positions, the pistons, the oil weight, the spring rate, the camber, the toe, the compound of the tire, the ride height, the weight balance, your Ackerman, all of those things you gotta understand first before starting to get fancy. And you'll hear a lot of comments, or you'll hear a lot of people, oh, just put some drift tires and go for it. Anybody can do that. But if you want to drift properly, if you want to know how to do it properly, if you want to do it like how you see in the videos, then there's certain steps that you got to follow. There's a certain channel that you gotta go through in order to get to that position where you can just hang your car on a bend, or you can wall ride your car with no trouble. You can't just go and hit it like that and just expect the car to perform like that. You have to develop these skills, like with anything. So let's see. So Marsha says, for a beginner, that body will look beat up after the first run. Yeah, that's what you get. You get something basic. You do it up. Basically, you do a normal street style, and then you start off from there. Okay, so Rob says, start with a brushed Oriolai E30 brush, super cheap, box tune for beginners as per its design and its intention. I second that from Rob. In a couple of podcasts a while back, I can't remember which one it was, whether it was in I think it was in season 2. Could have been season 1. I'm not sure, but I did do a review of the Oriolai E30, and I was lucky enough to speak to the designer of that chassis, and it's exactly as Rob Nick has said. The designer's intention behind the E30 was specifically aimed at the beginner, at providing the new guy, the beginner, with a cheap chassis, a cheap rear-wheel drive chassis that performs really well out the box, and is easy to drift. So definitely Oriolai it's definitely a good beginner to also look at. The videos make it look easy. Yeah, that's a lot of practice. That's what it is. Sup, Quentin? I'm doing well, man. How you doing? How you doing? I haven't seen you in ages, dude. I haven't seen you in ages. We need to get back together and drift again, man. We kind of missing you. We're needing that. We're needing the third guy, the third guy in the mix. Wolf, how you doing, my bro? It's so good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well out there. Wolf is the OMG guru, absolutely. Stefan says a YD2 does it. 100%, absolutely. I totally agree with you as well, Stefan. YD2 definitely does all of that. It's also it's also quite an affordable chassis and very easy to drive, also very easy to tune. There are other options as well, which is slightly cheaper than the YD2 as well. So we just like to give everybody a whole lot of options, something that will suit all of your budgets. Rob says, yes, Guru, maybe. Shots fired. Okay, guys. So before we go on to the main topic for the evening, okay, we're going to take one more question here from Marcio. How's your truck coming along, Mr. Bob? That would be the WPL D12 truck. Oh, dude, I sold that thing, man. I sold it. I got so tired of it. I got frustrated with it. I was like, hell to the no. I am done with this thing. So I just sold it off. No. I realized that it's not for me. I thought I would join in the trend and have some fun with it, but nah, man, it was more trouble than I wanted. So I just left it alone. Okay, boys, it's time for us to get to that main topic now. We're going to get a little bit serious now. We're going to hopefully we have some a whole lot of comments coming in, and I would love your input on what we're going to talk about now. So and this is rather I would say really disturbing, but it really I'd say it really flustered or got people a bit flustered. So there was a post on the worldwide RC Drift group the other day where, I'm not going to say the person's name, where the guy mentions that people spend a buttload of money on toy cars. Don't even get me started with toy cars. That's a whole separate topic that I'm gonna in fact I actually wrote an entire blog just about toy cars. But anyway, people spend a buttload of money on toy cars, and not everybody can has the same amount of money to spend, and these same people should actually not be telling. Oh wait, here we go. I got it right here. I wish people that spend a buttload of money on a toy car would stop telling other people, oh, you need this or you should get that instead, otherwise it won't be any good. It's annoying as hell. You all need to realize that not everybody has $1,500 to $2,500 just laying around. A lot of people getting into the hobby are limited in terms of budget, and sometimes they quit the hobby because they don't think their car is good enough. So instead of telling people to get better or more expensive stuff, why not just let them choose what they think is going to work? Man, that really got people flustered. Okay, Marcia, serious question. Where do I get 3-ply, or where the 3-ply van vanish? Timber City, one of the hardware stores. Okay, I see this on track, and he is Correct. Okay. Stephen says, I see this on the check, and he is correct. Obviously, that's in response to um, uh, the post that I just read out for you guys. So I'd love for you to just expand on that, Stephen, and share your experience, what you've seen. Uh, I must admit that, and this is outside of social media. This is where I drift, and with the guys I come across and interact with physically, face to face, here in SA. And I can tell you from my personal experience outside of social media that I haven't come across that. Maybe or maybe not, people have come across that. I've heard the stories where people have come across it, but me personally, I haven't experienced that. I've only ever experienced advice. So people who are in the game longer than me giving me advice on what I need. However, I must reiterate that it was in response to my own end game, like my own goals. What did I want to get out of the hobby, or what did I want to achieve with RC drifting? So, hence, they guided me that way. Um, Stefan says it happened to me in the beginning. Oh, okay. Now I remember. I believe you did mention this a couple of times. Um, yeah, I think that's really unfortunate, and I'm sorry that you had to experience that. And sometimes I hear it when I am on the track. Sometimes I am. Yeah, I find it disturbing that we still have this kind of attitude in a hobby. We still have some people who have this um, elitist sort of attitude that you require a certain level of equipment in order to become a drifter or be seen as a drifter. Now, you all know me by now that I'm all for encouraging and not discouraging. And I'm sure a lot of you would have seen my responses to some of these guys where I say, okay, I always ask, what's your budget? What do you want to do? What's your end game? And I try and help them from that point. So if you are one of those guys that wants to be drifting like how you see in the videos, then you have to gear yourself up towards that. You can't be, those guys have invested a lot of money in their chassis and a lot of time. And yes, we have proven that you can drift as well as those guys with a base chassis. We have proven that. But we must realize and understand that we have spent a whole lot of time in practicing and honing our skills and learning about tuning and adding in little bits of upgrade parts that you really need in order to achieve what you want to achieve. So but I kind of understand what you're saying, Stephen. That you get guys who are telling you, no, you have to get this. No, you don't have to get this. There are alternates out there that will help you achieve the same, if not similar, performance. So I think you do make a good point that we gotta be careful with the way we dispense our advice. We gotta be careful with how we react and interact with guys coming into the hobby, with new guys, also with guys with like decades of experience in RC, but now they want to try drifting. So we gotta be careful of that. Stephen says, so the new guys come and most of the advice always includes buying something. Yeah, okay, I can understand that. Chris, what's happening, man? Thank you so much for joining in. Really, really appreciate it. Austin says, tuning, and more tuning. 100%, bro. 100%. I agree with you. But we need the experienced guys to help the new guys with the tuning, and we need the new guys to open their eyes and their minds and allow themselves to receive that knowledge and that advice. I was there. I was definitely, without a doubt, I was there. I was stubborn and I didn't want to listen to the guys who were explaining to me that no, take your time, do this first, do that first. Okay, you want to drift like this, but you've got equipment that is limiting you. You need to get this. So I can't say that I've experienced what you've experienced, Stephen, but the manner, what I experienced was the manner in which they told me, like, I need better equipment in order to achieve what I want to achieve. They did it in the most encouraging and motivating way, and I think that, in essence, is where you're trying to get, or what you're trying to say, perhaps, or perhaps one of the things that you're thinking of. I don't know. You can just chime in there and let me know. But I definitely think that, yeah, the manner in which we speak and react to the new guys definitely has a very big impact and a very big impression on how the rest of the journey in RC drifting is going to be. And I suppose, like what this guy said, instead of attracting them, you're going to turn them away. Okay, so Marcia says on race days there should be like a newbie booth with guys giving demos on the side to invite people to join the hobby. No, it's cool. I appreciate it. That's actually a very good idea. I know that, or maybe I might be mistaken, but there were a couple of guys in some tracks across the globe where they had open days that's focusing on just the new guys. Maybe just 1 day a week, 2 days a week, whatever it was. But I have come across it. I know that in Japan, at Yatabe, and I'm not sure, and I have seen it also at the D-Like track, where they have a day that's just focusing on the new guys and like the little kids, introducing them into RC and letting them have a go. And also a lot of the tracks have loaner cars for guys coming into the hobby, or for guys just wanting to try out what's RC drifting all about. And I think that should now become a standard for each track, where there's a loaner chassis. If somebody wants to try out RC drifting, there's something there for them. Let's see. Rob says, yeah, because your Spectrum remote ain't gonna cut it. Yeah, sure. I mean, we know that now, However, I know quite a few people who are still using Spectrum remotes, and they're making do with what they have. Again, I must say that depending where you are in the globe or in the country, finances are always an issue. Now, here in SA, we are really experiencing tough times. So much so that we've got people actually leaving the hobby because they simply cannot manage in the hobby anymore. Hey Sebastian, what's happening, my friend? What's happening? Thank you so much for joining in, man. Yeah, so Steph says, willing to put the Rev D aside and only drive a plastic YD2 to show it all is not needed when the new guys come. Yeah, I agree with you. I think a lot of you guys can also can actually, I won't say a lot of you guys, a few of you guys, especially my Kamwadi family, they know when I came to Worlds, I actually competed with the plastic whitey tool. It really was. The only thing that I had that was aluminium was the rear toe block to change it to a minus 1.5 toe in the rear, and and thanks to Gregory and Anthony, really appreciate it. They hooked me up with a high motor mount, and they helped me out with a bit of Ackerman tuning there and a servo, and then a huge thank you to Daniel Christoph for hooking me up with the electronics there, and Stefan for hooking me up with the radio. But besides all of that, it largely was a plastic chassis, and although I didn't perform too well on the competition track, on the practice track it was actually working like brilliantly. So don't ever underestimate a plastic fantastic. And plenty of people have shown that the plastic chassis can and will work incredibly well. Let's see. Wolf says, but sometimes they're not asking and buying the most cheap parts and then are disappointed of the whole thing. It's definitely not all about expensive part, but some basic stuff that is necessary. Yes. Now that's one of the points I was raising as well, is that it's not necessarily buy the best of the best of the best, but rather buy the necessary, like Wolf says, the what you need. And I think I've mentioned that earlier. Drive the chassis first, understand it, and then once you start developing your skill and your own drift style, you will understand what you need. Like you need better dampers, you need a better steering because your steering has a bit of slop. Maybe you need longer turnbuckles so you can push out your front track width. That will give you a bit more stability up front and a bit more traction, and also so it will allow you to adjust your Ackerman a little bit better. So, and then you'll understand even more, okay, you need better knuckles up front that gives you a bit more KPI, you know, all of these things. The main point to remember is that, and like somebody said earlier, I think it was Austin, yes, and like Austin Green said earlier, tuning. Okay, so Austin says, take home a newbie's chassis and get it right, then show them how you changed it next track day. Explain a bit of theory, and it makes a big difference. It keeps them hooked. I absolutely agree with that. Absolutely agree with that. That's actually a very good way of going about it. And I must, and that actually reminds me, I actually have done that a couple of times where I try to help people out and say, give me a chassis, I'll set it up, and then I'll show you exactly what I've done. Rob Nick says, so slow communication. Haibo. What you talking about? What do you mean, so slow communication? Is the video feed coming through slow? Just let me know. Yeah, but Austin, in my experience, the first thing they do is tune. Okay, Wolf says, at least a decent servo gyro combination, not China $10 servo combination. Yeah. And that oh, the Spectrum. Yeah, dude. Yeah, you know, I totally get you. But if you remember, at Worlds, I competed with the DX3S. I think in the qualifying, I competed with the DX3S. If you go back to the video, look at the radio I was holding. It has the South African flag wrap around it. Yeah, that's a DX3, yes. But I got rid of that very, very quickly because with that Sanwa that Stefan hooked me up with, oh man, that was like chalk and cheese. Jeepers. Spectrum makes bad habits. Yeah, yeah, I agree. So I think we can definitely agree on a few things that um, one, you don't need the best of the best to drive with the best of the best. Two, we really need to check ourselves before we commenting. And by that, I don't necessarily mean ourselves, for those of us that are mindful of how we're communicating, but we need to check those around us who are being a bit of a bully towards the new guys. Remember, guys, these new guys are the ones that's going to carry the hobby forward. If we can make a greater impact on the new guys, it means that the hobby uh, extends its lifespan. It means it goes into the next generation. It means that there's going to be another generation of RC drifters is going to come in with new ideas, and they're going to come, and perhaps somebody's going to come along and revolutionize RC drifting altogether. It's coming to a stage where I think manufacturers are exhausting all of their ideas. It's like, what do we come up with next? I mean, FRD is starting to do some fantastic. One is, Wrap Up is doing some amazing work. Then you have guys like D-Like, who's constantly in R&D. Oriolai as well. Let's see, who else? Rev D, well, those are some of the most brilliant minds out there, and they are just taking their time with working and getting things out one thing at a time. They don't want to flood the market with stuff. And then Yokomo with their ideas and new stuff coming in, very interesting. So who knows what's going to happen? Bob says, "Oh, it's all good. Yes, it's fun to watch my boys' eyes light up when they ditch the spec and get a Futaba Sama or NB4. Yeah, yeah." Chris says, "I think a page of recommendations on parts would be good, along with that, a page letting you know the effects and defects of using a few budget parts versus the more high dollar parts." Hmm. Yeah, that's going to be a tricky one to do, Chris. And I'll tell you why. Because it's a bit subjective. Because sometimes the same parts will work for one, but not necessarily work for the next person. And manufacturers are producing updated parts, or they're producing new upgrade parts. So where do we draw the line with that? And now with the way things are advancing, with technology advancing, even though parts are budget on the budget end, they're actually still quite good. So it's I do appreciate the suggestion, and I think there is a space for it. However, we just need to put in a little bit more thought of how we're going to collate all of this information and put it out there. Because I guarantee you need somebody who's constantly on it, and it needs constant updating. A little while ago, and not that long ago, but like as late as last year or in the beginning of the year, Tori Circuit put together a little spreadsheet of um, budget to high-end chassis and electronics to go with and everything. And you know what? 6 months down the line, that list had to be completely redone because of manufacturers releasing new products and new versions of the products. So you know, we just gotta, it just needs a bit more thought. I'm not saying that it's a bad idea. All I'm saying is that we need to apply a little bit more thought in that, so that we can have something wholesome to uh, forward to the new guys. Also, like perhaps something similar to what Super G has done with their article, which is a fantastic article. Maybe going using that as a sort of a reference. I think that would be a good idea. So yes, thank you very much for that idea. I think it's something that we can definitely look into. Bruno says, but they need to listen to us for the basic stuff, and they never do it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear you. There's also a whole bunch of guys that does that. And like I was saying earlier, I was one of those guys as well. Eventually, when I decided to let go of my ego and my stubbornness, that's the moment where I actually started progressing. So I hope the newbies are able to watch this and understand this very, very important point, that being a new guy in the hobby, you need to leave your egos at the door. There are people who are in this hobby that have been around for decades, that know what you need and can give you the best advice for your situation and for your needs. And you just need to be open-minded to receive that, so that you can, like, and as I've said before, so that you can have a better experience, a better time in RC drifting. Okay, so Rob says, what the big companies need to do is make the profit margin better for dealers. Oh, geez. You know, I tried my hand at it, and it's flippin' difficult. And I can totally understand that comment. I have the list. I'll post it soon after. The difference is faster communication, smoother inputs. It's simple. Okay, so Marcio, Rob is there. He's going to post some info, and if you don't get it, I will forward it to you or tag you in there. Garrett, what's happening, my man? Good. Thank you so much for joining in. Really, really appreciate it. Hey, Robert. Oh, it's so nice to see all you guys joining in. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, so Marcia says, does expensive usually mean better? No. No. It doesn't. It doesn't always equate to better. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. And that's kind of a bit of a topic on its own as well. There are certain parts that are a little bit pricey that you would need, but you don't necessarily need. Let's see. Yeah, so Rob answered it. Yes and no. That would be a nice sign to hang. Which one, Chris? I don't know. I've said something, but I don't know. I don't know which part you're referring to. Okay, so Rob says, I tell all my new guys out here in Omaha that it's simple. It's a tandem art form. Ah, that's brilliant. We help each other in the pits and on the track to improve together. To be a dick and hide the sauce is fucking idiocy. Yeah. On the money as usual. Rob is on the money. He is the ambassador for commodity. Chris, the ego part. Yes. New guys coming in, leave your egos at the door. We don't need it. You're not gonna need it. In fact, you should just forget about it. Okay, Gareth says, I've set up a D5 with basics, so when someone comes in with a new D5, they can try it and see the difference and then know how to set one up. That's brilliant, man. Well done to you. Good job. Keep it up. How do you find the new guys coming in? Are they readily coming up and asking for help? Or how do you, in your experience, how do you find them how do you find the approach? I know for on my side, it's difficult, man. It's difficult. I've had people come up and like, they're like, wow, your car is so fantastic, how it drifts and this and that. And then, so how much does one like this cost? And that is the such a pivotal moment, because you don't want to lie to these new guys, but at the same time you want them to join in the hobby. And you know for a fact that once you tell these guys how much it costs for you to put together your drift chassis, they're just gonna be like, wow, okay. and and they're out the door. So what I can say as well is that this hobby is not for everybody. um, there's a certain amount of financial commitment, whether you a newbie or whether you just want to drift socially or whether you want to go all out and compete. You are in for some money, and you got to be prepared to put down the money, whether you like it or not. How much of money, that's debatable. That for me that for me definitely depends on the level you wanna get, and how far you wanna take this hobby. Do you wanna That's why I always, and I've said this so many times, I always ask new guys coming into the hobby, when they ask me, so like, what does it cost, what entry level to come in, or I want to get into RC drifting, so how much am I looking at? So I always ask them, okay, so first thing, what's your budget? What do you want to do? Do you want to drift socially, or do you want to compete? Do you just want something to bash around at home and once in a while come to the track, or do you want to get something for the track, you can use it at the track and drift? Do you want to drift like how you see in the videos, or you just want to have fun with it? So those are very critical questions that you as an experienced guy need to pose to a newbie, so that the new guy understands that, wait a minute, it's not just straightforward like that, and his answers are gonna guide you to giving him the best advice suited for his needs. And then afterward, you hit him with the info that he needs, and then you can catch him in. So you're like, hey, you know what, here's my car, or here's our loaner car, why don't you take it out for a spin for a little bit, and then spend a few minutes with him, show him, okay, your throttle control, your steering control, this is how you go about drifting here. Let's go one side, we put a cone, we put two cones, and we say, okay, I'm going to show you what I'd like for you to practice and try this, and then take note of how I'm engaging the throttle, of how I'm turning, and then have a look at the wheels when I'm turning and what I'm doing. I'm counter steering, and then try and I promise you that's how you're going to catch them. And the moment they have the control in their hands, you just watch their face and you see it light up, and that's a moment where you get them hooked. Okay, let's see. Marcia says, but Chris, sometimes after watching Fast and Furious, it makes us think that we know what we're talking about. So Garrett says, yeah, they come for help when they have issues. We always spend time with newbies. Very, very, very important, and good on you for doing that, man. Okay, so Robert says, this is my comment from last post, what I saw on some of FB group about this topic. But the price depends on who and what is expected. 100% agree. If someone asks about a model in drifting with a child in the parking, they can buy something cheap to play with. 100% agree. But if someone asks for a real drifting model, which will be a rear-wheel drive model and will be a model for competition, or have some minimum standards for current tracks, the price will be higher, and you cannot expect an answer of 200 to 300 USD. 100% agree. I understand that some mods are very expensive, yes, but it seems to me that it is already for the competition class, and that requires something more than stock version. Yes, in my opinion, people ask for advice, and people offering some advices that should have a little bit more info about what buyer is expecting from drifting. Yes, and after that they'll get a straight answer. Number one, buy a flying fish to have fun and learn some basics about chassis. Yes, I've done the same. I've recommended the same as well. Buy some Yokomo OD overdose RMX basic versions to keep tracks standards and have good fun with the rear wheel drive. Yeah, that's pretty much the standard. Um, uh, Buy a high-spec Yokomo RMX or GAM with a lot of upgrades and top electronics to get into competitions. But last option should be advice for very experienced drivers. Okay, so Robert has actually posted some very, very interesting and very valid points, which I agree with as well, and I'm sure many of you guys would agree with as well. And you can always go back and read his comment in the comments when it's done. Sometimes you got to read once or twice to really understand it, but I get what he's saying, and some very valid points there. You can't disagree that those points make sense. And at the same time, comments made by Stefan and Rob also make sense. So they all have the place in this hobby. Okay, did you see our live stream at the weekend on our first resin surface? Oh, dude, you know what? I must apologize. I did read about the new resin surface, and I saw that JB won, the Giant Slayer. I didn't manage to see anything though, but if it's still up, I will definitely go and have a look. I think I may have watched a few seconds of it, but I was a bit tied up, so I couldn't really watch. I will go back and see. But I hear that it was very good, so well done on you guys for getting that up and running. So Sebastian says, even when I drive a stock RTR from new customer with local drifters, the new guy asks me what's needed to upgrade his chassis. Then I tell him, just practice more. They still ask for upgrades. Totally get you. That's actually one of the other things I wanted to talk about. Marcia says, talking about practice, let me go and practice my Call of Duty Warzone. So, Bob, thanks for your time. Appreciate it, bro. Thank you so much for joining in. It means a hell of a lot to me that you joined in for so long. Really appreciate it, and thank you to everybody else for joining in as well. So the last thing that I want to talk about quickly is one of the points that Sebastian has pointed out, that the new guys coming in, they buy an RCR, and they haven't even driven it yet, but they're already asking for upgrades and what can I do to upgrade. The newbies, new guys, oh my gosh, new guys, please, I'm begging you, when you're buying a new chassis, forget about the upgrades. You've only just bought the chassis, you haven't even put it on the track yet, you don't even know what the chassis is about, you don't even know how to tune a chassis, you don't even know what the functions on your radio is, but you're already asking what can I do to upgrade. Upgrades does not equal better. Upgrades does not equal automatic skill upgrade as well. You still need to know how to drift. You still need to understand how to put everything together, how to resolve an issue. How do you resolve oversteer? How do you resolve understeer? How do you resolve sideways grip? How do you resolve keeping your car straight when you want it to go straight? How do you control your boost and turbo? Where do you set your functions? I must admit, even I don't fully understand yet the boost and turbo functions. So I'm going to have to read some articles and ask a few questions. So guys, you need to understand that you must learn about your chassis first before starting to get the necessities get the upgrades. Drive the thing first. Don't ask about what can I do to upgrade. You want to upgrade something? Upgrade your skill first. Skill matters. I don't know, right or left, either one. But I think for all you guys, okay, I'll do it this way so you can you can see me. I think for all the older guys, you would know this skill matters. I first saw that that logo on the Soul RC page or the Soul RC website, something that I followed for in the beginning when I first started with the RC drifting. And at that time CS was happening and Koregashi style and all of those things. So skill matters. Develop the skill first, then you'll understand what you need. Don't just come in there with your new chassis that you just bought that hasn't even landed yet and you're already asking, what upgrades can I get for this? I've bought this, I've just got this chassis, what upgrades can I do? I've come across that so many times and I've repeated this advice. New guys, please drive your chassis as is first. Understand it, learn how to drift first, then start upgrading. Upgrade the necessary parts that you feel will give you that performance first, then go get all the fancy stuff. Hey Bob, thank you for joining in, man. So Bob says the main thing is not everyone knows how far they will get into the hobby. Okay, so with that first line, Bob has mentioned a very similar thing, a very similar comment to me on one of the other posts on one of the groups, and I must admit it was something that I didn't consider because not everybody knows that they want to take the RC drifting however far they want to take it to worlds, whatever it is. Some people it develops over time, and some people are just like, no, I just want to have fun, I just want to do the social thing. So it also depends on so much. Is it a hobby or a serious passion which can become that you live for competition? When Seb started, I thought 350 euros was a lot of money for an RTR MST CS. I remember Seb just pleased to do a lap. That first lap that you get around, that first clean lap, oh man, I know exactly what you mean. I remember Seb just pleased to do a lap, then join a train. Look at him now. Look me, 2 CS cars, 4 rear-wheel drive. Money spent 20 times the initial outlay. This is no way at the beginning I would have imagined where Seb is now and how much time we have given to the hobby. Yeah, and as I've said to you personally before, Bob, that it's definitely something which I hadn't thought about, and definitely something that I am keeping in mind and considering in the future. So thank you for bringing that that very, very important point up. Rob Nick says, someone plot me some scale no fear stickers for the next thing to ask me. Okay, Bruno says, just enjoy the hobby, man. Just go and practice. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Practice a skill with your kids. Okay, they are having their own little tough there, so I'm just going to leave it there. Sebastian says, that's what they always ask for, upgrades, because they don't have enough experience, and they think when they buy expensive upgrades, the chassis will drive like on some fucking hot movies. Newbies need to understand more experience, and they need to understand chassis construction setup change. Okay, so it's basically what I also just said. Chris says, it's true, I won my first event with the stock RMX 2. Only upgrades was the KO Propel servo and gyro. But look at what a difference having good electronics makes. So even if you have your basic plastic fantastic chassis, but if you have like really good electronics, it will make you as competitive as guys with upgraded chassis, in my opinion. However, at the same time, you got to put in the time and the practice to develop the skill and also understand how to tune your chassis and understand the electronic tuning so that you can be as competitive as those guys who've blinged out the chassis and drive really, really well. So, okay, Chris replies to Robert, I just don't mind waiting, man. I'm just getting something cheap because I could get it, then I drove a stock car for 6 months. Okay, buy one time, cheaper in the long run. 100%. I absolutely agree with that, and it's a kind of advice I try and give to as many people as I can. That you rather buy once, buy properly, and then you don't have to worry about it. It will literally last you years. I can say that from personal experience, and I'm sure many of you guys would agree with that as well. That if you take care of your electronics, it'll literally last you years. Buy cheap, buy twice. 100%. That comes from Wolf. So Bob says, I wish I knew that 5 years ago. I think I bought so much only to be replaced a few months later. It happens, man. It happens. We get so excited with some of these things, and we get so into the hobby that sometimes we are but wasteful. Budget equals RevD Servo, Yokomo V4 Gyro, one and done. Yeah, I mean, we gotta admit that the RevD servers are pretty good. I must actually give a shout out to the Eurofighter D1 team. I've been using their programmable servo for a little while now, and I am thoroughly impressed. The with the performance of that servo, it's just really, really good. So I would say it would stand with the best of the with the best of the brands out there. Yeah, there are there's a few that are definitely better than the Eurofighter, but I think that for its price, for its performance, for its functionality, it's well worth it. Worth looking at the Eurofighter products as well. You guys should definitely include that in your in all your options that you're looking at. I've run it quite extensively. I've run it hard. I've fiddled with it, and it just performs really well. So big shout out to the Eurofighter team for giving me the opportunity to try it, test out, and review the product. It's really, really good, and I would definitely recommend that. And that is an unbiased review and unbiased suggestion. I just don't want anybody to think that I'm just suggesting it just because, and that's not the case at all. It's a genuine, sincere suggestion to definitely look at the Eurofighter D1 programmable servo. So yeah, guys, there's been a very, very entertaining podcast today, and I hope you all have enjoyed it as well. And lastly, I think I also want to apologize to everybody. I know it doesn't look as good as it usually does in the past episode, and I'm not sure what has gone wrong, but I am going to do some testing. Maybe my OBS needs a fresh install. I don't know. I'm going to look into it. And hopefully I can get it running back to the way it was. So, with the nice graphics, and I can show off a little bit, show off all the tracks that I've been trying to feature for so long. And that has been a brilliant experience, I must say. Learning the languages of all of the different countries has been amazing. The last one track I supposed to feature was all the way from China, and I managed to learn a little bit of Chinese also. So I was looking so forward to speaking that, but I will have my time. Rob says, "All right, stop talking down your show. I'd watch it even if it was a black screen. Thanks so much, Rob. Rob has been a fantastic motivator. So has Wolf. So has Bob. And so many of others, of your others that I haven't, I mean, it's not coming to mind. But really, I think, yeah, it is what it is. I'm going to try and make it look better, though. I think the main thing is just keeping the content going and just keeping the podcast going. I mean, look where I was to where I am now, from an audio only, and now we're doing video. So I think it's pretty cool. Ni hao. Ni hao, Wolf. Ni hao. Yeah, guys. So I think that's it for today's episode. It has been another brilliant episode, and I think it has been a nice, well-rounded episode for episode 20 of the B-Rock RC show. I think it was a nice way to sort of cap that 20th episode, and I'm so pleased and so happy to see so many of you joining in the podcast and also commenting and putting forward your ideas and your suggestions and your feelings in there. It has been very engaging, and I must also give an applause to you guys as well for being such wonderful viewers out there. You guys are really awesome, and I really appreciate it. Catch me again next time, same place, same time. Hopefully it's gonna look better, but yeah, you guys keep well. I make sure you guys are safe, sanitize, put your mask on, vaccinate, whatever it is, but please keep yourselves and your family safe. I want to see you guys in the comments again next week. So take care, everybody. Have fun. Remember, tag me into your projects or send me a message of your events, and let's see. I want to keep in touch with all you guys and see what you guys are busy with, and make sure I'm in the know of what's happening all over the world, because yeah, I get and it's not necessarily just for the show. I just get really pumped and really excited to see what's going on in the rest of the world, and I try and I like to keep up with everybody. So I will be posting up some pictures about a couple of projects that I am working on. So yeah, I'll show you guys what I'm busy with as well. So take care, have fun, keep drifting alive, and I will see you guys again next week. Take care, guys. Peace.